Head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers men's basketball team, going to be in action at Thompson-Boling Arena on Saturday against Mississippi State. Nice enough to join us is Cuonzo Martin. Coach Martin, Vince Ferrara, Jesse Smithey. How you doing, Coach?
All right. How you guys doing?
We're doing good, Coach. The start, obviously, nothing like you guys want, like the kids want. What has been I think you mentioned that they've come in with their hard hat despite not getting the results. Have you been pleased with the way sort of they're dealing with the lack of results so far?
Yeah, it's always tough when you're not winning games. Like I told our guys, in these two league games, Alabama and Kentucky, you put yourself in a position to win the game. These first two, I didn't think we played well at home against Ole Miss, but these last two, you put yourself in position. I think the next phase for our guys is taking care of the ball in critical situations, key situations, but also the mental focus down the stretch of games to get key stops. They're doing a great job defending, but you got to get those key stops and then making plays when you need to make plays.
Cuonzo, how much do you remind the guys about the start to SEC play last year? I think y'all kind of got off to a slow start and still rebounded to finish second in the East, I believe.
Well, the thing we talk about is preparing to win every game and take one game at a time is the most important thing. We talked about obviously last year, but everything is different. Every season changes. You go through different things, but I think for our guys, it's one game at a time. And it really, once you get that win, you kind of get over that mental hump and go out and play. Because what happens when you're trying to get that win, it's almost like a 10 or 15-pound weight in your body. You bog down and you want to play a perfect game, which that's not the case. You got to go out and play. You got to have fun and play the way you're capable of playing. Then once you get that win, you can kind of get on the roll.
Visiting with Cuonzo Martin, head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee taking on Mississippi State on Saturday at Thompson-Boling Arena. We'll get Coach's thoughts on Mississippi State here in just a moment. Let's talk about some of your guys, Coach. A lot of focus on Jarnell Stokes. You know the sort of talent he has, and he seems to really want to do well and be a good player. He's not giving you what you need, and you've said that, for you guys to be successful. Why? We know he wants to do it and he's got to put in the work, but why do you think maybe he's had some struggles?
It's a tough call because I do think we're trying to make a conscious effort to give him the ball. He has double-team guys coming around, and whether he's coming down big on big double teams, guys on the backside trying to scrape the ball out of his hand. Because he has guys hovering around him all the time. I think for him, it's just really relaxing from the standpoint of whether it's a double team or not, stay aggressive. And I thought, he got in foul trouble against Kentucky, but I thought in the Alabama game, the first half, and then the Kentucky game, I thought he was aggressive when he got the ball, looking to score. He got two key dunks because they double teamed him. So he has been aggressive. That's the biggest thing I try to tell him. But once he has one or two good games and get it under his belt, he'll be fine. But it's just, and I think in his mind, he's thinking double team every time, where can I get the ball, make quick moves, make good decisions with the ball. And that's not an easy thing to do. But he puts the work and he puts the time, and he'll get over that hump.
Coach, would you guys as a staff like to see him play with more of an edge, sort of that edge that Jerron Maimon plays with, and maybe be, I don't know, meaner or not as nice on the court? Is that something you guys would like to see?
I would like to see it. But, every guy's nature and style is his own. But I think he has it in him because he shows it sometimes in practice. I think just being aggressive, being physical, attacking that rim, going to get rebounds. So now when he gets 5 fouls, he got 5 fouls where he earned his money. Like Yemi Mack and Julie, he gets his money's worth on his fouls. Even though Yemi's not a really scoring threat down there, but he defends, he rebounds, does other things. I think in Jarnell's case, if you're getting 1 or 2 offensive fouls a game because you're being aggressive, I think he has to do that and just go out and just really go out and play the way he's capable of playing. But I think more than anything, because he has the talent, has the skill, I think he's thinking about it more than anything as opposed to just going out and playing.
Cuonzo, in the last game, you saw Trey Golden start to kind of rebound, maybe move in the right directions. Yeah, I know he had some turnovers, but the assists were there. He started to score a little bit more. Well, what has changed with him mentally? Maybe the last few games. It just seems like a different Trey Golden than we were accustomed to last year and the early part of this season.
That's one of the things that we're trying to figure out with Trey and just really talking with him. And the thing is, I don't try to pull out stock where guys get mentally bogged down about what's wrong with my game, what's going on. We try to sit down and watch film, focus on certain things. But Trey Golden's a scorer more than anything. Trey Golden is not a defensive stop. We just ask Trey to be solid defensively. Trey Golden is a guy that scores the ball. He's a scoring point. So we need him looking for his offense, being aggressive, making plays. Now, you don't want the 5 turnovers, but we want the 6 assists and him attacking. Now, if he's getting 5 turnovers, that means he's attacking the rim and making plays, and that's always a positive. But you need him to be aggressive. But it's just one of those deals, you're going to the season every time the thing you try to stay away from are key injuries we talk about all the time. But don't take into account all of a sudden one of your key guys is not playing at the level he normally plays at. So now you have to compensate for that and find ways to make sure he's successful.
The emergence of Jordan McRae is really one of the SEC's elite offensive players. Just talk about that emergence from him. I know y'all probably have seen it in practice for years, and now for it to finally come to fruition. Just mention that a little bit.
Well, the thing about Jordan, like I said to him before, I said, this was probably 3 weeks ago. We talked about it a little bit last year. I said, if you're a scorer, then be a scorer. I said, I don't know too many scorers that leave games with 7 shot attempts, 2 free throws. I said, if you're a scorer, then you have to lead a game with 12 to 15 shot attempts, 6 to 8 free throws a game. That means he's aggressive. That means he's assertive. He's in tune to what's going on. He's done a really good job accepting that challenge of getting to the free throw line, getting fouled, also shooting his three-point shot, attacking off the ball screen. So he's playing a good brand of basketball right now.
Visiting with Cuonzo Martin, head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. Coach, fans have talked a lot about the officiating, and as you know, when you go into road venues, typically the home team is going to get some of those calls, even though that hasn't been the case for you guys in that Ole Miss game. But are there times where you think maybe your guys are affected by the officiating and it impacts their style of play and trying to adjust to it?
I think in some cases, like the Kentucky game, I thought that was a tough officiated game. That was a game I was sitting there trying to get a text from those guys. I just felt like the way the game's officiated is tough enough. And I thought there was some questionable calls at Alabama as well. But I just feel like as hard as you're playing, you're trying to compete, and as tough as it is to win on the road, you got to give guys a fair chance. You know what I mean? Because I thought some of those calls, I thought they were ridiculous, to be honest with you. I just said, man, you can't win ball games like that. And now your guys playing with such an aggression and playing physical. And if it's going to be played that way, then it's called on both ends of the floor. But I just think we have some consistency in that department. Well,
to that point, Yemi Makanjula, and you referenced it earlier, he gets his money's worth off of his fouls and has gotten into some foul trouble. But if you guys were able to get some more scoring from the other positions on the floor, do you think that would open up some opportunities for Yemi to be on the floor some more, since you can rely on his rebounding, his defense, and toughness as opposed to scoring?
Without a doubt. I think the biggest key with Yemi is, even if he's not scoring, what he did, he scored a couple. We're attacking on ball screen. He's diving to the rim, and our motion guys are moving. Now he gets layups that way. He gets putbacks. But I think where Yemi, trying to get him more minutes, some of those fouls, they're so quick, and then you take him out of the game. My thing with Yemi, you got to get some of those. I mean, some of those he gets his money's worth. But I think 2 a game, they're probably not great fouls from his standpoint. But I think he earns. I definitely think every game he gets 3 legit. If he gets 3 a game, but I think 2 of those fouls, he has to be smart about when to foul, when to just be big, and just kind of take a charge of. I wouldn't necessarily say bail out, but give one up.
Cuonzo, share your thoughts with us on this weekend's game against Mississippi State. A 2-1 start out of those guys in the SEC play. Obviously, Jalen Steele, a Knoxville product, probably wants to come up here and put on a good showing against you guys.
But Jalen Steele's a very talented guy. 6'2", can really shoot the ball. He'll come in hungry, ready to play. They come off a tough loss last night. But once again, for us, with the key piece we have, the talent we have, we're just protecting our home court and playing the way we're capable of playing. And because what happens, you start thinking about, you lost the game, trying to get that first win. It becomes mental more than anything. It's just really playing basketball, and that's the thing we try to stress as a staff. Just go out and play the game, cut down those mental mistakes, those key turnovers, and then we'll be fine.
Coach, what about the free throw line? I know you'd like to see your guys shoot a better percentage, and I know there were some key misses there down the stretch in the last game.
Exactly. You're Jordan McRae, I think Jordan and Trey both are 90% free throw shooter. I think Jordan overall through the season shoots 78%, Trey is 74%, and Trey was 90% last season. So you got to get those guys up. Jordan's around 50, 53, 55. Josh Richardson is shooting 51%. Is a guy that should be 75 or better from the free throw line. So he's definitely has to get that up.
What about Derek Reese? Talk about what you've seen from him in these couple games.
He's a talented basketball player. The thing about him, I think that was his 3rd game. He's kind of learning on the fly. So even though he's been at practice, he's probably, before he played his first game, he only had maybe 7 legitimate practices. So now you're talking about a guy who was rehabbing a lot, doing conditioning, but really wasn't locked in the practice because he wasn't a part of it, because he's rehabbing the situation. So now some of the things, he has a few breakdowns during the game. Some of those breakdowns are just really going through it, not having the preseason at contact. But he's a very intelligent young man. He knows how to play, knows how to put space, and can put the ball on the floor, can make shots. And I think he has a great future.
Coach, I'm impressed. You've been, whether it's post-game, whether it's separate interviews, whatever the setting, you've just been a consistent rock. The results aren't there. The fans are up and down game to game, but you're just even keeled. Why do you think that is?
Well, because this is my home. Mm-hmm. This is where I plan on being for a long time. I think the fans need to understand. You have tremendous fans here. They want to win. I'm with all that. But it's a process when you're trying to be the best and be successful. The guys are going through something. If our guys going out there and rolling over on the floor, not competing, not putting forth an effort, then it's one thing. But these guys going out to compete, and the last thing these guys need for the fans not to be there. That's the worst thing that happens to these guys. Because when times get tough, that's when we really shine. I think that's the University of Tennessee, what we stand on. We represent, we show support, because these guys compete to the end. That's what we'll do. And that's the way I believe it. And I say when I took over this job, this is not a pit stop for me. This is a destination. And this is where I plan on being. So it's a process we go through. And you got to go through the fight. And I think our guys continue to get better, because no one account for the fact that, you know, talking about Jarnell, if he plays as hard as he can play and he do the things he's doing, he's the best guy in this league, in my opinion. No one would come into this season and say, man, Jarnell, look at his numbers, which his numbers aren't bad, but you expect him to be better. I mean, he's averaging 10 and 7. Those aren't bad numbers. But he's a guy with the ability to give you 18 and 15. Trey Golden, in my opinion, when I took over, I said, when I was watching for a month, I said, this guy can be the best point guard in this league. He's not playing as well as he can play. Well, you never account for those things going into a season. You don't assume Jerron may be out for a season, but those things happen. So now for us, it's to fight through it. As a coach, you got to keep your guys encouraged, because they're putting forth a great effort.
Coach, I know coaches don't like to talk about the next game, but I'm going to try to get you to anyway. At Ole Miss next week, obviously Marshall Henderson has taken the league by storm. A lot of people around the country are taking notice because of his scoring ability, because of his antics on the court. Do you have to see a guy the first time to really get a good idea of how to defend him? I mean, I know you can watch him on film, but really get him up and close, and then maybe the next time around throw something different at him.
Well, that's a good question. You know, when you watch him on film, he looks like he's about 6'1", maybe 170. But the thing about him, he has a level of toughness to him. And he's not just a catch-and-shoot guy. He knows how to shot fake and get to the free throw line. He knows a 1 or 2 dribble floater. And the thing that really helps him more than anything, he has good pieces around him. But when you have 2 big guys around the rim, and he start getting into that lane, it's hard to really help up, because those 2 guys are really good at getting offensive rebounds, getting tipped. So that's what makes it tough. But we'll be ready to go against him. We'll have a game plan ready. But he's better than I thought once I saw him live. And watching him on film, there's a lot of catch-and-shoot shots and watching this game. But he can put the ball on the floor.
Did any of those antics, do you think, go too far or maybe impact your guys at all with all the talking and antics he had?
I don't know. When I was a player, that wouldn't bother me. I mean, the best way to stop that is beating him. I mean, I just think as a ball player, you expect that. Our guys in the summertime, you talk trash to your teammates. I mean, I think guys in Rocky Top, that's part of basketball. I don't think it affects the guy when you're talking trash if you've played in that environment before. I mean, that wouldn't affect me.
Coach, really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday, and thanks for the time as always.
Thank you guys for having me.